Hello and welcome back to Better Than Yesterday. My name is Daniel Hammond and I'm joined by my good friend Michael Janse van Redsburg. And today we're gonna talk about a more financial-based video, which is titled How to Make the Correct Financial Decisions in Your 20s. And this is just to be able to be self-sufficient in your 20s and not rely on getting help from your parents anymore. But before we get into that, Michael, how have you been doing, man?
Excited, brother. Yeah, I've been doing so well, man. I just finished up with my university studies for the year, which means I am two-thirds
Mhm.
done with my studies. So it's exciting times, man. Excited to work hard this holiday and make some money, make some good memories, more importantly, bro. But yeah, man, excited to get into this video, bro. But how have you been doing? And let the people know where you are recording from right now.
Yeah, so I'm currently in Cape Town in South Africa, and I've been doing well, man. I'm glad to be back in the mother city, bro.
Come on.
It's
We missed you.
good times, and yeah, I've just been resting up well. Got my results yesterday, so I also passed my second year,
Well
and
done, man.
I'm only halfway through, unfortunately. I've got another 2 years left, but I'm excited to take a break and then get on to my third year next year, man.
It is exciting
Well
stuff,
done
man.
on
And
finishing your.
thank you for that. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And as we head towards, finishing up our studies, I think it's important to have these kind of conversations talking about managing money. I think
Exactly.
we are at that point
Yeah.
now, both of us 20 years old. When we started this channel, we were both 18 years old. And, we were talking a lot about investing in cryptos and all these kind of things. So we're almost getting a bit back to our roots in this channel of talking about investing and financial decisions. Because, yeah, we're going to get to a point very soon where we're going to be out in the working world and we're going to need to manage our money that's coming in now. We're going to need to start making all the correct decisions. And that's what we want to talk about in this video today. Daniel and I are not experts on how to do this, but we have been doing some research in our spare time and have had already a few years now of experience of managing our money in the correct ways. So that's what we want to talk about with today's one, man.
Yeah. Really, that is awesome. And yeah, this idea just came to me when I was reading this one book, which is called Awakening the Entrepreneur Within You. And it just talked about the four like quadrants that you can fall in being like a working person. So it can either be that you're self-employed, that you're employed by someone, that you own a business, or that you're an investor. And when you get to the point of being an investor, you become financially free. So with this video, we'll just talk about where you start off and how you can get to the point of becoming self-sufficient from your investments and not only your salary, because like Michael and I was talking about earlier, it does become difficult when you think about having only your salary to rely on. And if you get fired from your job or you get released, then you don't have an income anymore. So what can you do to make sure that even if you don't get an income from a job anymore, you can still take care of yourself?
100%, man. Yeah, I think, we're going to sort of break this video up into a couple of sections of, and in the beginning, we want to talk about, yeah, like the sort of things you want to be aiming towards and like the general concept of handling your money. And then towards the end of the video, we are going to be talking about like practical things in terms of what to invest your money in and that sort of thing. But like you said, man, I think that's
Yeah,
also my first point. And one of the things I want to talk about was just working towards financial independence, man. Like you say, I think we've
yes,
listened to, both you and I listened to a lot of, people who are older than us and know more than us about these kind of things. And what they always say is that you don't want to be at the point where, you're 28, let's say, and you get fired from your job and you have nothing else, that means you're completely stuffed. You have no alternatives to turn to, no investments to seek out. You don't want to be completely dependent on something that is out of your control. Sometimes the boss will fire you
yeah,
for not for a good reason. The company might shut down. All of these kind of things can happen. So you want to be in a point where you are not fully dependent on your next paycheck. You want to have, like you say, money put into investments, and that's why you have to start the work now. Hey, man.
yes,
There's this
exactly.
point I know you spoke about where people always have a reason not to invest. So in your 20s you don't invest because, "Oh, I don't have enough money now. I'll do it when I'm in my 30s." There's always a reason not to start now. But I think you got to find reasons to start now, and the best reason is
Yeah,
because so that in the future you will have that independence financially.
Yes. And that brings me to my first point, which says start investing with your first paycheck. Do not delay investing and start as soon as possible, even if this is small sums and finding investments that don't require a lot of money. Just start
Sure.
so that you can start forming that habit and not put it off, because once you keep putting off something, initially it won't occur and it won't happen. And at the end of the day, you find yourself being retired with no savings, no investment, and you have to start becoming dependent on children or other people.
Sure. 100%, man. Yeah, I think like you said, the earlier you start, the better. And the thing is, it might make your life a bit more difficult right now. Putting aside, let's say like 500 rand a month, right now. But the thing is, it'll make your life so much easier in the future, and your future self will thank you. I think that's the sort of thing with like delayed gratification and all these things. It can,
Yeah,
it's making your life maybe a little bit harder right now, but it'll make your life so much easier in the future by even just educating yourself on these things right now, by watching this video, by having your mind set in that right direction. I think you're doing the right thing, man. So yeah, I also want to talk
yeah,
about investing in things that are appreciating assets rather than depreciating assets. Because yeah, I find so often people our age, we very focused on like material things. We want to get nice jackets, we want to get packet, we want to get like the brand new Nike shoes. And there's all these depreciating assets. We want to go out with our friends, and these are all like great things. These are all nice things to have. It's nice to have the brand new pair of Jordans. But these things are depreciating assets. As soon as you buy these things, they are worth a lot less than before you bought them. You know what I mean? So you want to start investing, turning your mind towards things that have a potential to earn you more money in the future. So if you're putting in 500
yes,
rand right now, that thing, you want to put that 500 rand into something that has the potential to bring you back 1,000 rand in a few weeks, in a few months, in a few years time. You want to start
yeah,
putting your money into things that have a potential future return. And unfortunately, material things and just keeping up with the Joneses, as we always say, is not the kind of thing that's going to get you in that right direction. So you want to start looking at things that have the potential. And I think a big part of that, hey man, is actually just investing in yourself. So investing in your
yes,
idea. Let's say you have an idea for a business, or you have a passion about whether it be social media influencing, whether it be modeling, whether it be starting your own business like you've done, man. I think putting money into that kind of thing, which has a potential in the future to earn you back
mm,
much more money, is the right kind of thing to invest in, man. Because you
yeah,
know, even if you were never to succeed on that path, it's still the right thing to invest your money in, because that is something that has the potential to earn that future. And that's something we're going to get into just now, hey man, about risk taking. But yeah, I think that's just
yes,
an important concept. Is like investing in yourself, because you yourself have the potential to earn much more money in the future. So investing in yourself right now is something that's going to make you a valuable asset in the future. So yeah, investing in
yeah,
your talents, in your ideas, I think that's the right type of thing, rather than just being socially accepted and getting a nice car and all these things. Start putting your money towards things that have the potential to earn you back money in the future.
yeah. It's true what you're saying. And just to add to that point of
Yeah, man.
investing in yourself, there's different forms you can do that. This can be in
Yes.
terms of educational books, gym memberships, fighting classes,
Yeah.
gardening lessons, or just to, yeah, which in the end, like once you get these gardening lessons, you'll know how to plant and you can start growing food for yourself, which then means that even if it's just vegetables and fruits, and stuff that you're not going to sell to people, you can still
Yeah.
use that instead of going to buy these from the shop, which in the end makes sure that you are saving money and you don't have to have those expensive. So you're cutting down on your expenses. And like you said, you should see yourself as an asset which you do
Yeah.
invest in, because you are the person that needs to captivate those ideas in order
Amen.
to make more money or to just work and like be healthy, which is being healthy with the gym membership and just doing things that are beneficial to your life and just adds to it. For
So good.
example, what I did recently is um, instead of buying myself a new shirt or a nice watch, I bought two books, which which are very educational, and it even gave me this YouTube video idea for today.
Amen.
And these books, it might not it might not give me money physically, but it's going to give me ideas and the knowledge which can be beneficial in the future and just help me lead a better life. So
So
that's
good, man.
definitely important. And then, yeah, so what you also have to do is that as soon as you start earning money, you need to already have a financial plan in place
Yeah.
so that you don't just spend your money recklessly, and you start doing the right things from the get-go. And yeah, just take that action already once you start. So in a financial plan, you can include a budget and a certain way you set out how you're going to manage your money going into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's always like someone who's prepared is always better than someone who's unprepared, you know. So like you say, you
Yeah,
might come into a certain amount of money, once you start working. This video is aimed at people who are in their 20s. And yeah, we're all starting to get into that working world. And eventually we're gonna, work our way up the ladder. And whether it be just in terms of earning. And yeah, you're gonna get to a point at some point where you are earning a lot more money than you've ever had before. And you don't want to get to that point and
yeah,
not know what to do with it. Definitely you want to have a plan. So like we said, start investing in those appreciating assets. Use your first paycheck and start putting things into, investments that are, this is another point that we wanted to make, is something that returns an interest, and usually you want your
yeah,
interest to be greater than that of inflation, So inflation is just the idea that things just get more and more expensive over time. If you look at the price of a bottle of milk 10 years ago versus now, that price has increased a certain percentage, and that's always going to continue happening in life and around the world. Like anywhere you live, inflation is a thing that's just the idea that things are going to get more and more expensive. So in turn, you
yeah,
don't want your money to just stay this amount. You want your money from in 10 years time to be a certain percentage high as well, and you want that to be higher than the percentage of inflation. So that's an important thing, is just growing your money 100%, man. And that comes to all of these things that we've
definitely.
been mentioning, man. So
Yeah,
I want to get into a couple, if you're keen, of some practical things of like
the
of
things, yeah.
what to actually put your money into, man. So what do you think as a 20-year-old, or let's say someone who's in their 20s entering that sort of period, they have some money now,
Yeah.
but they have that money and now they want to use it in the correct way. What are some like solid like directions that they can actually say, this is something I want to put my money into? What are the right things, the right decisions?
Yeah, so like we've said with investing yourself, it can be in buying like the right books or investing in your hobbies. For example, with Michael and I, we would be investing into Better Than Yesterday and seeing how we can make the channel better. For example, with
Yeah.
buying the podcast mics or
Yeah.
just getting equipment that's gonna put out better quality videos,
There we go.
investing in it can be either like paying for a skill as well. Like there's different courses that you can take online. Say you want to get into a bit of marketing, you can use that money to pay for a marketing course and take that. And then I know there's these, if you've got a fixed set of money that you earn monthly, there's these investments that start off with like 500 Namibian dollars or 500 rand a month, where you pay for about 10 years and then it pays out a fixed lump sum, and then later on you can take this money and put it into a bigger investment. So there is these little things that you can look towards.
Yeah.
Or it could be, yeah, like taking out a gym membership and making sure that you going to the gym every day or on a consistently basis. And if you're paying for it, you will definitely want to use what you're paying for. So that is a few things that you can do.
Good one.
Also, start saving towards an emergency fund, because there's always, you don't
Yeah.
know how life goes. And if you've got money put away for emergencies, you won't have to take out a loan to to deal with this emergency. You will actually have a set amount of money that you can
Very good.
use, and at the end, yeah, you don't have extra expenses. So it's very important to have an emergency fund. And I've like looking into an emergency fund, it should usually cover 6 months of your paycheck or the amount of expenses that you can.
That's good, man.
So definitely do look into that.
That's very good, man. Yeah, because you know, you can always plan things out in life, but then there are these just crazy things that happen. Like you could, you know, let's say you have a stable job, then all of a sudden you lose it. Having that kind of thing in place, having 6 months of pay in the bank is something that's so clutch. And I've seen that in you know, my parents and you know, them making those kind of correct financial decisions. So yeah, man, I think that's
Mm,
very important. That's similar to a point I wanted to make is about saving up, you know, lump sums, and that can
yes.
be with investment, that can be with just saving, because you know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, like let's say you earn 10,000 rand a month, but you spend pretty much 10,000 rand a month every month as well, you know, you're not going to
Yeah.
be having anything saved up, and that's the difference between someone. There could be someone who earns, let's say, 20,000 rand a month, but they spend all their money, 20,000 every single month. They spend it on all these things, like they just live an extravagant, you know, a lifestyle that is all the way up to their limits. You know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
could have someone who's earning less than them, let's say like 12, you know, like, yeah, 12, 15K, but then they put aside like 3,000 every month. You know, that person at the end of the year is actually richer than the person who was earning more than them. So that's an
Yeah.
important thing.
Exactly.
And
Mm,
that allows you to then save up lump sums. And the one thing that I've learned from research with investing is that you know, you can't be too conservative, because realistically you're never going to make millions and billions by putting in 200 rand a month, or just by putting in 200 rand, you know, into your investments. You know, there's that one example of that guy who bought
yeah.
crypto for like you know, he bought Bitcoin, you know, back in like 2009 for like a small amount of money, and it turned into millions, billions. But that's just a very, very, very rare situation. Usually it
Yeah.
takes a bigger amount of money. You know, if you want to make a large amount of money, you have to put in quite a large amount of money. And if
Mm,
you're going to put in 200 bucks, it's only ever going to maybe turn into, even if you make 100% returns, then that's 400 rand. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's not that much.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're putting in 20,000, these kind of bigger
Mm,
lump sums, that then, if it's still the same investment, 100% returns, it's now 40,000, which is a much bigger return. You know what I mean? So you have to actually start putting in, you have to put in bigger amounts into your investments. And the only way you can do that is by having lump sums of cash saved up. Yeah, which is by, you know, living slightly below your means, man. So I think that's a very
yeah.
important thing as well, is putting in those kind of bigger lump sums.
Mhm. And that's where it comes, where budgeting comes into play again, and where you
Yeah,
can really see the importance of budgeting. And this is just by making sure that your expenses is less than the amount of money that you earn. So for example, putting aside money like that to invest into whatever you want to invest in, but this is something that can be in terms of savings, just having like a set amount of money each month that you put aside, and then after that, working on a budget, which is, or not a budget, but like your expenses plus the amount of the things that you need to spend on every month, and then also just setting aside some money which you spend on going out with friends or eating out and just like enjoying your life, but making sure that you don't just spend your money recklessly, but that you do have a plan behind it. And
very good, bro.
then I also want to get into the point of when you start working, don't go and pull out the most expensive car that's going to also like decline in its worth over time. Rather buy a good, reliable second-hand car while you save up to buy a better car later on, which in the end you don't have to pay a lot of interest for. Because if you're taking out an expensive car, you have to commit to paying a certain amount of money
Yeah,
for quite a long period of time. And this money
yeah,
that you could have been saving and investing to actually at the end make more money. But now you're just putting it into a car, which becomes an expense because you
yeah.
have to still pay for fuel, and after a while, the car's value does decline. So in the end, you're paying for something that's worth less once you've paid it off.
It's
And
good, bro.
another,
It's that thing of
yeah,
getting into
another
debt,
thing
yeah.
that, yeah, that thing of getting into debt and actually like managing it. So be sure to also try and do everything um in cash as much as possible rather than using credit. So
Mm,
all your groceries, and that's why the budget is important because it makes sure that your money comes out for the month and you don't have to go and use credit later on
Yeah.
because you have a certain shortage. So try and use your credit cards for more expensive things that you can't afford immediately, but that you do need to use in your living.
Wonderful stuff, man. I think we've touched on a lot of really good points on making the right decisions here in your 20s, man. One
Yeah,
final question that, if you don't mind, that I'll pose to you, man, is I know you know obviously you're studying in the industry of property and that sort of
property.
thing, and I think people at our age are always looking towards obviously at some point moving out of their parents' house and then at some point investing in property, whether it be just an apartment for themselves, but then also getting into buying investment properties. So when do you think, with the knowledge that you've gained, perhaps is like a good time to get into property and some advice around that, man?
Okay, so this is something that I've been thinking of for quite a while. This is with especially like in terms of what I want to do. So you can either buy a property and stay with your parents for a bit. So
Sure.
you can then rent out this property, or what else you can do is buy a property that has an apartment so that you can stay in like the bigger house and someone stays in the apartment and
I see what you're
initially
saying.
they help you pay off your mortgage bond.
Yes.
So it's important to look at these things. And then you talked about timing, like when to buy a property. So you have to also do research on the property markets, and not just buy a property because you've started a job now. Like while you're looking into the market, you can save that money, or yeah, those lump sums that you were going to use to give a deposit to the property.
Yeah.
But first, like do a lot of good research in the areas. But I would say you can try starting as early as possible, because there's these bonds that you buy where you buy a fraction of a property with other individuals. If you
Sure.
can't buy like the whole individual investment property immediately, and these bonds that you pay do give you, like, does yield income for you afterwards, which can be
Wow.
taken like on a 6 month or a yearly basis. Yeah,
Sure, man. That's
so it's
interesting. I didn't
important
know about
to,
that.
yeah, so that's also something that these insurance companies do. Like, did you know that when you pay money to them, they put like all of our money together and they invest like in a block of properties, for example,
Mm,
buying like developing apartments and then selling those apartments, and that's how they accumulate money.
yeah.
So yeah, the best advice I would give you is that if you're going to buy a property, don't buy the most expensive one. Buy a property which you know that you can expand and like build on with time, and then sell it afterwards for a larger property, rather than
Yes.
buying one expensive property like as your first buy, but that you're going to pay off in 20 years.
Sure.
So yeah, do look into that. That's what I would
Amazing
say.
advice, man. Amazing advice. Yeah. So I think that's it from us, man. I think
Yeah,
yeah, we've done our best there to provide quite a lot of value on just making the right decisions in your 20s. And these are things that we are actively carrying out in our lives and definitely plan to do in the future, man. And I think it's good to start
yeah,
these conversations. We have a young community here better than yesterday. And, at the moment, I'm sure a lot of people that are watching you might still be living with their parents, might still, not have to have all of these financial struggles. But by doing the research and putting the time and thought into it now, you are making your life again so much easier in the future. Um, you're
yeah,
just doing it now instead of having to worry about it in the future. So I think that's a valuable thing
exactly.
to talk about, bro. So yeah, we really hope you guys
Yeah,
have enjoyed this video, and I'm so excited, man, to see you very soon in person, and we're gonna be
yes,
making
definitely.
some videos where we are both in the same location. Daniel's just currently in about like an hour away, so it's not too far, but we're definitely gonna be linking up very soon and making some
Yeah,
really cool content, and yeah, taking Ben and yesterday to the next level, man. We have actually just hit 100
exactly.
subscribers, and we're going to be doing we plan to make a cool celebration and just year of reflection and looking back on everything we've achieved so far. But again, yeah, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. It's been really cool to be on this journey, and we're only at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And yeah, before we head off, I just wanted to make sure to give you guys this last point, is that when you start working, make sure to get insurance, get your medical aid, get house insurance, car insurance, phone insurance, because this is just going to make it easier as well. It is beneficial stuff that is out there, so do get into that. But it's been amazing having this chat with you today, Michael. And yeah, just to speak on like the financial side of things again, because I know we've been focusing on self
Yes.
development and self growth in
Yeah.
terms of mindset and productivity and stuff that's internal, but now we're looking more into the external part. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good having this conversation. So
It was awesome.
much love
Yeah.
from us here at Better Than Yesterday.